right, joining with me today is Boilon. How are you doing?
Hey.
So you've been,
I don't know why.
so you have just started playing Raid a month ago, and I've been playing for 6 months, and I'm by no means an expert. The more that I play Raid Shadow Legends, the less that I know. I feel like I discover and stumble upon something new every single day. I'm not kidding. Has that been your experience
Yeah.
so far?
I think I'm having a really great time with this, and the progression there's the surprises around every corner. Things that I wish I knew when I first started the game as well, which I didn't do. So
Yeah, so the game has a lot of depth. I don't know what to say, and I want to say
yeah,
that it is 3, 4, 5. It's multiples has more depth than the game that you and I both normally play, and it has been a little bit overwhelming. For me, it was a little bit overwhelming, specifically with upgrading champions. How did you get through
yeah.
that? Understanding how the food works and upgrading. What made it make sense for you? I'm curious.
I played other games like this actually, which is funny because this is the original, but I have played other quote unquote clones. So the food system I already understood from other games because
Okay.
they used it there.
Because I think that's the
So that was
number
my
one thing. Now, let's do the call to action real quick, if you know what that means. There you go. On this grade, link in the description or scan the QR code. Tayrel Rector Drath you get after 15. More importantly than that, it's very important to use my QR code, but more importantly than that is do what in the first 24 hours? What is it, Boylud?
You do the Sun Wukong promo code?
Sun Wukong promo code, which is Monkey King. I cannot stress how important that is.
Oh, I was gonna type it in there, but
Well,
I've
here's
already
the thing is you can only do one code every 24 hours, and you have to do the Monkey King, one word, in the first 24 hours. Like, it's kind of important. Like, is Sun Wukong's probably, for me, the most impactful character I've had in my roster since day one. And I'm guessing that it's either Alice or Sun Wukong for you, right? Alice is very strong also, right?
Yeah. I think because of the bonuses they gave away for Alice, it is Alice, but Sun Wukong is for sure second, and for sure in Arena, right? He's very powerful there too.
Yeah, and so the other legendary that you can get for free, which were just mentioned, is Alice the Wanderer, Alice in Wonderland, and you get her by logging in for 7 days. And the beautiful thing that it is not a log-on streak. You actually have quite some time to get it as long as you log in 7 days, which just blows my mind that it's not like you have to log in 7 days in a row. No, you can log in 7 days over the course of whatever, right? I know that the promotion ends at some point, but they do this all the time. And since I've been playing Raid Shadow Legends, I've gotten several characters like that. Like when they were running Skeletor, got him, so on and so on. There's just Loki was a character I got for, and then Alice the Wonder Woman. So, and Loki's your dog's name. So anyways.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were talking about this a little bit, and and it sounds like you already figured this out, that we were talking about on your main page, the missions, and that getting Arbiter is kind of a big deal. And it looks like you're making excellent progress on that. You're actually like ahead of schedule. It looks like you're more than half. Yeah, you're more than halfway through. The biggest roadblock that I had on mine is, you can see right there, it says unlock 3 tier 4 masteries for 2 champions. You've already did that. But the one is the Great Hall. And so that's the first question I asked you is what is where you would go? You're gonna pull it up here. It's
there was one. Oh, this one here. Oh no, that's upgrade.
Yeah, there it is.
No, that's Great Hall. That's Great Hall, isn't it? Upgrade 2 affinity bonuses to level 4. So that's what I'm kind of like trying to preemptively work on because I know I'm gonna hit this.
Okay, but it gets worse, and because it only shows you like in blocks, right? And then the next block is gonna have one that says get 1 to 9 and get 1 to 10. So from here on out, like you're gonna do, I guess, like you already got the.
I'll probably do blue magic. I guess probably bump that up further.
Yeah, from there on out, my suggestion is just to do one or the other and not do any other ones. Like just focus on accuracy on magic blue, which would help. Like you got Kale, right? Kale's.
I do. Yeah. He was my starter character.
Yeah. So because it gets really steep on how hard it is to get them up. Like it's a curve, right? And it just gets
grind.
Yeah,
it's a really long arena grind.
And if you go wide, you're not going to get there and that's going to be a roadblock. So it's kind of a big deal. So you picked, so you've done research. So something that I see is you've got some 16s, which have you figured out how expensive 16s are? I'm guessing by now.
I found out pretty quickly when I upgraded a couple. I was like, what? Where did all my silver go? So, that's something that you really have to be careful about, because I didn't realize how much I was blowing. I was doing the auto leveling, right? And so I'm going to try not to do it here, but for my sword, right, you could just like go to 16 and it's like automatic.
Yeah. So I was like,
expensive.
because you could wipe 2 million right there.
Yeah.
I mean, and yet it's like next to nothing to go to 8, and then maybe it could be like 25 to 75,000 to go to 8, and then to go to 12 might be 200,000 or 300,000, but it's not 2 or 3 million, right? And so
like 12 to 16 is crazy sometimes.
Yeah. And so so you've already figured this out, and I'm going to say you don't need to go to 16 at all for a while. Does that make sense? You just don't. It is so expensive.
What I made sure that I did was at least go to 16 on some speed boots if you happen to have some main stat speed, because that was probably where I saw the biggest difference was in the boots. But the rest, I do have a lot of 12s across my characters.
Okay,
so.
pull up your Alice and your Sun Wukong. I'm just real quick see how that is. Okay, so you got 16s. Yeah, okay. And click on your boot right there for Alice. I'm just curious.
Speed.
That's great. And then I think, so you've already figured out that the first star on speed has a potential of being speed as well, which is kind of a big deal. And then go to your banner, the one right below it, the accessory that... Yeah, and then
that was the one was given for free. But actually, you know what? There's a lot of good speed on there. I have 21 on that, which is not bad.
That is an amazing piece of gear right there. And and then you also did the upgrade there where you what do they call that? You ascended it. There's
Ascension purple stars.
Yeah, the purple stars. There's a chance that it'll be accuracy. So you've already figured out that speed and accuracy is the game. Now, talk about the accuracy thing for a second, because I don't think people understand. I mean, I think you and I have both played turn-based games, so we understand how important is speed, but accuracy was not that important. This game, it's like life and death of whether anything works or not, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that accuracy is extremely important. I mean, for Alice, I think it's where it's most notable. I don't know how many of the skills actually take an accuracy check, but I think a lot of hers might. I don't know every single character.
Her special does for sure, like that turn meter reduction and the cooldown increases is absolutely based off of accuracy. So
is it okay? Yeah, I probably need a bit more, honestly, because I'm at I guess you're a little bit in the way, but I'm about 131, I think, here on my accuracy.
Okay.
So I think I honestly probably need a little bit more. So I need to find ways to bump that up. Because sometimes it is failing.
Yeah, unfortunately, most characters, almost all characters need speed. I mean, I'm going to say like 90, 95. I mean, there's always an exception to every rule that we're going to stay in this video today. But accuracy too, like not many characters don't place negative effects of some sort. I mean, they all do, right?
Pretty much. I mean, unless they're a defensive character, maybe, and that's all they're focused on. But otherwise, like Apothecary doesn't.
Right. There you go.
doesn't need the accuracy. So that's probably one of my characters in my roster that doesn't need it.
Yeah.
So he's primarily defensive based. But yeah, pretty much everyone else does. And that's why you kind of need to keep that in mind, right? Unless you're using them, I don't know, solely as a glass cannon in PvP, perhaps.
Well,
and they don't need it.
And both Alice and Sun Wukong have that opportunity to ignore accuracy and just go. Now, go to Alice. I want to look at your crit rate.
It's not as good. I'll take this out, but
all right,
45%. But the crit damage is so high. I need to get the crit rate higher. 184% on crit damage. On the other hand, so
each character has like some sort of modifier on how they do damage. Like some of them are defense based, some of them are HP based, some of them are attack based. But really what matters is getting the crit rate to 100% and the crit damage. It's actually more important than that attack modifier. So like, it's so go to Sun Wukong real quick and pull up his crit rate, his thing. Click that, whatever we got.
He's a little bit better.
51 and 145. Okay, so let's look at the gear on first of all, pull up Alice and we'll look at the gear. The top row doesn't matter that much at all. Like it just doesn't. I don't know how to explain it. It does matter, but the bottom row, the middle row there matters so much. So do the gloves and then the chest.
Yeah, so 50% attack percent and then speed.
Okay, so let's go to the glove. And I know attack is a suggestion that it quite often, but frankly, and certainly, I think you've already figured out that the flat percentages are not good. Outside of accuracy, speed, and sometimes resistance. But like flat attack is garbage, flat defense is garbage, flat HP is garbage. In some ways, percent attack is inferior to crit damage and crit rate. That's already a great piece of gear. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's got accuracy and attack, right? And it has some crit rate, but and then optimally, what I'm finding is that I'm able to get to 100% crit rate from the secondary substats, and then my gloves end up being crit damage, and then the piece above here is usually this one right here is also usually crit damage. There it is. That's amazing. Yep.
+2, 42.
And you got wow, that is great. And then you got crit damage on your ascension too. That's an amazing piece of gear. That's like, it's funny. Like the more you play this game, when you see like a good piece of gear, you're like, whoa. Yeah. Like, you know, it's like the only thing that can make that like a tad better is if it had accuracy, because like so much of the game is like accessories and gear rather than the actual characters. I mean, the characters are like the shell that provide the mechanics and what the character does, but the actual stats and effectiveness of the character is by the gear. And strangely, you know how like there is a very small amount of power creep that occurs in this game over time in characters. So like Apothecary's been around forever, still a good character, right? The power creep is in other ways. They power creep gear. You know, they do. It's a strange idea that these characters will be good for years. I just love it, right?
Yeah, well, no, I mean that. Well, maybe we'll get to that. But I happen to get really, really lucky.
Yeah, that's great.
With this character on the screen here, Geomancer. Now, I didn't know much about Raid Shadow Legends when I first pulled them, and then I shared this with some friends of mine who are playing it, and apparently I got a pretty good jackpot here.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too about Raid Shadow Legends. Not that we need to sell the game over and over again, but it's like there's some epics that are bonkers. Like, you know, like
but he's also an old character, and that's what I wanted to get to. Was that I heard he's like 3.5 years old now, and yet he's still really, really good in the game. And you know, both you and I from the game that we played before know that characters do not stay valid that long.
6 to 9 months. Yeah, 6 months, 9 months, maybe a year. Maybe a legendary is good for a year and a half, but not years. I mean, Apothecary's been around for a long time, and then you know, eventually you're going to get Arbiter from the Arbiter missions. Arbiter's like 4 years old. She's like, everybody uses her everywhere. She's really good, right? And you're going to be like, wow, this is great. And it's like a 4-year-old character. Holy moly.
And that's what I find really interesting, and what I like about this is that I'm pulling characters, you know, that are still old, but there's crazy value in that where I would just not get that in other games. And so I was really happy about this, though.
All right,
I'm using them almost everywhere.
So let's back up to that. Let's look at the bottom 3 pieces on Sun Wukong, or the middle 3 pieces: the gloves, the chest, and the gear. That's fine.
This one's not so good.
Okay, no, but that's fine. That's fine. That's actually fine. Yeah, that's probably. Well,
3 rolls on crit rate.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, the only thing that would be better, see, crit rate's good. So in this slot, you really only have 2 good choices for Sun Wukong. There'll be accuracy or attack percent. So typically, like, I get attack percent here, and then on the gloves, I'm getting crit rate or crit damage, and then on the boots, it's speed. Do your middle one right here. Do you have crit damage here? Let's see if you got lucky and you got crit damage. Look at that. That's a great one. And then go up here. Let's see if you've got speed as a secondary stat. Yeah. Yes. Yes, that's great.
Only just once. It's not. I got defense on the other rolls, but.
Yeah. Okay. So these are great pieces of gear that you've got. You've already, like, I opened up 2 other people's. I did a roster review on 2 other people, and like, you are like miles ahead of them. Like, I'm dead serious. Like, you was like, oh, you get it. So, I mean, so like secondary speed stats up. So, like on the top row, you're just looking for like secondary speed stats, crit rate, crit
that's
damage.
speed as well.
That's it.
2 speed there, actually.
That's great.
Not bad. And here, not so much. So I think that one's the main. Nope, I actually got rid of my brutal set. Oops, I broke that. I think because stats. I heard the saying that stats are better than sets or something. This was a saying that's going around.
You're making me so excited by what you're saying, that because you can't. The sets is like eventually like late game people like have like perfect gear and then they build it around sets. We don't. We got to worry about each individual piece, and if we can make a set, cool. I mean, that's fine. Now, on the only exception I would say to that is on this bottom row. So the 9 piece. So that's pinpoint, right?
Yeah, I got that from the event, from the Alice event boss there that helped me get some of these pieces.
Right, and if you start buying the forges, which I think are great, there's a Slayer set that comes from the forge, and just by putting one piece of pinpoint or Slayer, then you get extra, like get 20 accuracy. Just, I mean, and then running 2 piece. So
and then the speed,
yeah. So on the, because otherwise on the bottom on the accessories right above here, it's gonna be just a skinwalker. But if you can get it to be a 9 piece, which would be pinpoint or Slayer, which are going to be the primary 2 that you have access to now. And then I gotta. So you've got all these 16s, which makes me like worry a little bit because you got a lot of 16s for but you on Geomancer you have an 8, and I'm going to tell you that taking on all
it's
of
your, not very good though. Crit damage for Geomancer, I that's why I didn't bring it up.
No, he doesn't need it. I get it. So but you could double down on accuracy. Like if you roll up, well, first of all, the cost to go from 8 to 12 is 400,000. It's not like, well, and you have a 1 in 3 chance of rolling up on accuracy. He absolutely can use accuracy, right? So
it is more on the accessories, I think, than the regular pieces. I think it costs a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
Well, here, I'll do it right now. I got some money.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Well, I hope you get accuracy. Let's get accuracy.
I think it's about 300,000, but we'll see.
156.
I think I got lucky. But that wasn't accuracy though. I think
it hit resistance or did it hit attack? Attack is kind of useless on it. I don't. Someone will know in the comment section. But anyways, I gotta say that just going to 12 on characters that you play all the time doesn't really. It's not that expensive. Who else do you play all the time? Like what's your clan boss team look like? Or just click on your clan boss.
Geomancer, Alice, Apothecary now, actually.
Okay.
I added him in there, and Kale.
All right.
And Rector Drath.
Yep. Okay, and then
who does not have. Let's try to roll a speed on this one.
Get a speed there. Oh my god, yeah. Or
come on.
HP percent would be helpful on her too. That's fine.
HP percent. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, so there you go. I think avoiding 16s and moving your 8s to 12s would be just like a good use of you got one more up there. What do you got?
There we go.
HP.
HP.
Flat HP. Well, okay, whatever. And then
I didn't have before, I guess. But
and then let's see.
Should I go from this 15 to 16? No, I don't know, because that's going to be quite costly.
But it's HP though. I think if it was a
common
speed,
though.
Yeah, I think if it was a speed. See, the thing is that the common epics rares kind of matter at some point.
Yeah.
But on a speed boot, which that is not. Well, it's a speed artifact, but it's not a speed primary stat. Now, what do you have right here in the middle accessory piece?
Attack. I don't really have any good replacement. Well, unless that one. No, like I don't have any good necklaces for Knight's Revenant.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's worth upgrading actually, because she doesn't need attack, crit damage, resistance is fine, and you're gonna get a random stat. So I don't know if that's worth it. And then you got to. So you do 2 damage dealers. You do 1 speed up and turn meter, which is a pocket theory, and then you got Geomancer, which oh wait. So you do
Alice, Geo, Rector Drath, Kale, and Apothecary.
Okay, I actually like that very much.
Do you want me to show you my clan boss? I can show you my stats and stuff.
Yeah, let's see what's he doing, because clan boss is like really important. Holy moly! Like there's so many things.
So
okay.
This is my normal one that I sent this morning. I did 31
Holy
million.
Moly, you're doing great. Is that a one? So are you able to sim it now?
Yeah, for normal. I can also sim hard, but I haven't done it yet. But I can. I've done about 20 million on hard, and then I'm actually doing brutal as well.
All right, and so brutal, what is like 40 million to get the full chest, right? 21 million.
21.7 actually.
And then is this your alliance?
Yeah, this is mine that I made.
Okay,
my clan.
so this is.
We're starting from the scratch, but
Yeah,
hey,
okay.
we're building together.
Well, you know that like if the alliance 100% it, you get double.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's like, oh, and then like, so like I'm doing ultra, so it goes brutal, then it goes nightmare, then it goes ultra nightmare.
I'm not quite that far yet.
No, but like, so the alliance I'm in, everybody does 100% on nightmare, right? So I get two chests there, and I can just key it. But ultra nightmare, and it's again, it's that curve where it goes straight up. Like you think it's hard now, just wait, just wait. It just ramps up, you know. So
and that's we were talking about accuracy earlier, because that's really, really important, because I did actually do an attempt on nightmare, and that's where I started noticing that, you know, my accuracy just wasn't cutting it for some things. So I was having a harder time landing debuffs, and so where I just needed to work on my stats a little bit more to be able to do that.
yeah, and if you're going to be doing accuracy, you know, you've got to choose between, do you want the because you really need the HP burn to land on Geomancer. So you're going to have to choose between force and the magic one, which is blue, which is Kale. And the problem with Kale, I don't know if you found this out yet, but you can only land 10 negative effects on the enemy, and Kale's going to clog that up. And you don't want to get into a situation where Kale has clogged that up, and then you can't land the HP burn from Geomancer. So it's not that Kale is bad for clan boss. It's just at some point he's going to be pushed out of the equation because he just clogs up the negative. Have you experienced that already?
I think what's good about mine is that with Apothecary now, that Geomancer takes enough turns that normally he can reapply the burn before it falls off. And so that's what's helped me there. But definitely I've seen it stack, like the debuffs stack up pretty high. Kale's actually holding pretty well as far as damage. Is not as good as Alice here, even though Alice isn't a poison champion or anything like that. But Kale's doing well for me just now. But I feel like, yeah, he's probably the next one out, you know, as soon as I find a suitable replacement for him.
Yeah, and you're going to stumble upon characters. Now, let me ask you this. What resources do you use to assess the value of the characters and or gear? Are you using Hell Hades or Yumi Love? Or using?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I use Hell Hades' website. There's some pretty good resources there.
Yeah, I run Don't Walk. If you haven't used Hell Hades, I live on that site. Oh my God! Now, are you using the optimizer tool at all?
I am. That's actually how I use the gear optimizer, because there's just so many gear pieces in the game. Or like, you know, as I'm playing, I'm accumulating so much gear that it tells me kind of for me, you know, like what I should be putting on there. So I don't have to hunt through, you know, for me, I got like 1,148 pieces of gear, right? So there's a lot of stuff in there. Well, and what we said about stats is better than sets. So it helps you find that. And I think it was really helpful, actually.
Yeah. And then you're going to be, you're almost ready to purge like your gear. You have 1,100 out of 1,500. You're about ready to purge, probably down to like half as much. Like you really could sell off about half your gear. But the way that you decide to do that, I'll let you leave it up to it. But yeah, you're like, at some point you're not 1, 2, 3, 4 stars are not going to be playable. And then at some point the green and the commons are not going to be playable. I mean, because you can't equip all of them, right? You can only equip. How many characters do you have equipped with gear? What are you doing for faction wars? Have you thought about that much?
I have. So I make sure that I always do the first set. Actually, I have to do this before the reset. But I've been trying to make sure that I can do up to stage 6. Now my roster is pretty limited, so I'm struggling a little bit sometimes on these stage 7 bosses, because some of them are harder than others actually, and this one I can't do, for example. But you know, I do want to make sure that I'm at least farming the glyphs. And farming the standard gear out of this, you know, when I can. And so most of my factions are done at least up to stage 6. I have utilized some epics and rares to get me there. So I can farm that.
Are you crafting as you go, or are you waiting for CVC? No, you're okay. Oh, you've got some saved up. So the time to flush these is during CVC. Have you done one of those yet, or have you seen that?
We've done 2. We've actually won twice now, so that's great. We got some good rings out of that.
Yeah, and I saw that you had one of the rings on. I believe some Wukong was running one of the rings there. Yeah. So yeah, I usually don't forge anything until CVC comes around. There's two different versions of CVC. One that is like it's just milestone based, and then you get some rings. The other one actually has personal rewards, and that's the one everybody goes hard on, and they alternate. So the thing that I was doing that it kind of messed up. So there's on most pieces of gears, there's 3 4s all the way to left, like right there. You've got 40, and then you got 5 6s on the other side. There is. So I only craft the 3 4s and the 5 6s, and the reason for that, the 3 4s end up being for silver. I just craft them and then flush them into silver. I just sell them off real quick. But the problem with doing the 4 5s is the pieces overlap on the 5 6s. Does that make sense? There's overlap. So like you can see
right into the purples.
Yeah,
The purples
and so
overlap.
I was crafting a lot of the 4 5s, and then I would have too many 5 6 pieces, and then it was not. And I only care about 5 6s. I don't care about 4 5s. I'm crafting the 3 4s. I mean, you're gonna have to do 4 5s to ramp up your account, but at some point, just be mindful that if you're crafting 4 5s, you might be cutting into your 5 6s.
Yeah, I think I'm at the point where like I can't access these oranges for the 5 6s very well because just my roster is just not quite there yet. So I am still crafting on occasion 4 5s. I'll take note of the clan versus clan. I actually didn't know that the forge was used in clan versus clan, so I haven't been doing that for points or there.
Well, typically the forge, like almost every resource in the game, has some sort of advantage to hoarding in some way. Like there's opportunities, and like some of the super diehard, which by the way, don't worry about events. Holy moly, it like that's like next
There's
level.
So many of them.
So
there's
many
a lot.
No, but,
even right now.
But there's players that will only they hoard all their resources, and then they only expend them when they're not only getting one event, but they're getting multiple events. Like they're trying to accomplish so many things at the same time. But forge crafting doesn't have the value to forge crafting and hoarding it is to expend it during clan versus clan.
Yeah,
there you go. I mean, that's
yeah. There's a lot of hoarding when it comes to points, it seems, and I didn't know Forge was a part of that, but now I know. So now hopefully I can give more points to my clan for that.
But generally, there's other events. The other events don't benefit from hoarding and forge. Like so, people generally flush their forge during class versus clan or whatever they want to do. And for the way that we're doing it now is on the ones that don't have the personal rewards, we just try to get the milestones and we kind of sandbag it and then go harder on the one that have the personal rewards. So the last one had the personal rewards, but the milestones are great. I got to tell you something though, for whatever it's worth. Like I've done a couple of these. You got this. I don't know what to tell you. Like I've done a couple of these that like I'm looking at their rosters going like, what the hell are you doing? And then I was like, I'm looking at yours. I was like, oh, you've actually done some research and you're doing this right.
I think progression wise, especially in the PvE side of things with dungeons, I think I'm doing pretty well. I'm pretty happy with the progress that I've made in 35 days or so. And I guess what's next for me probably is just getting better characters. Like I kind of, there's not a lot more characters I need to build right now. And so I'm kind of just waiting a little bit to get that next best character to pump up to 60, I think is what I'm waiting for.
Where are you on the campaign? Go to the campaign real quick. How far have you gotten in that?
I'm in Nightmare. I finished Brutal. Okay. So I'm making my way through Nightmare.
So you can do
chapter 8. So I'm getting there.
But you can
I just haven't spent the energy yet.
Do a Brutal 3 real quick for me. Brutal 12-3 real quick.
Yeah. Shield one. Yeah, I know this one.
9 seconds. Okay, you're good. Yeah. No, can you run one character or do you have to run two?
I know I run Kale.
Okay.
So I farm with Kale.
Oh, can you farm with Alice? She's fast.
Probably, but Kale has my lifesteal gear, so that's why I just find that easier to maintain.
Okay.
But I probably could do with
she's bonkers. Like there you go. I just want to see how this goes for you.
I haven't done it with Alice before. I normally do with Kale, but
normally if she gets a kill, then it resets some of her cooldowns, so she usually can just go. Yeah. Look at this. Yeah, this is great. Yeah.
Maybe I should have been doing this all along. I've been doing it with Kale for like 30 seconds. There we go.
Oh, there we go. She
still needs XP, but
Yeah, I mean, I think if you booked her, but you got to be careful with your books too, right? That's That's really fast. That was
18 seconds. It's still faster than Kale, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I would do. Well, you have 3 farmers. So I actually, my farmer is Sun Wukong, but I've got him booked. So I think whoever you book, have you decided who you want to book first?
I did it to Alice, actually.
Okay.
I'm just missing 1 on this one here. 3 out of 4.
Yeah,
everything else
that's a cooldown one. That's the cooldown were the ones that matter, actually. So, anyways, we're gonna do the same type of video on your channel, and I don't know what we're gonna do, but I think it's gonna be similar enough. And I this was a blast. I'm totally excited to see that you share the same enthusiasm that I have with Raid Shadow Legends.
It's just honestly, it's refreshing. You know, having progression made every single day, making meaningful progress in Raid Shadow Legends on my roster, seeing that go up, and you know, I'm just having a blast playing this game.
And one last thing before we do the call to action. So Chimera came out, right? Where you I don't think so. The Chimera came out. There was 0 monetization on it. It was fun for me. It was fun for in-game players. Like, it just blows my mind that it was challenging for everybody in the community, and there was no monetization on it. 0, none, and it was a brand new game mode. And I like. You've been playing it, right? Is it burdensome or teasing or like oppressive to you?
Nope. I mean, I didn't know when it came out, actually, but I'm finding this a lot easier than Hydra. Now, I'm not going to go into that, but
Hydra's hard.
that's not for me right now.
No,
but I'm actually making progress on this one, which is really nice.
But I guess my question is this: like, you've been playing the game for a month, and you're able to play Chimera in a way that is pleasurable for you without feeling oppressive, and to know that someone's been playing the game since launch feels the same way is baffling to me.
Well, that's good content. That means that it's good for me, and it's good for you or someone who's been playing for years. And so it's pieces of content that everyone can find viable. Hydra, not so much. I feel it's a bit oppressive for
Hydra. We could talk later about Hydra. You actually don't need to worry about Hydra. Is actually hard, but anyways, and
it is.
And they actually retuned it in the last 6 months or so, and so there's been some controversy. But you actually have the makings of a good Hydra team. Like Sun Wukong is vital for Hydra. Geomancer is vital for, and it's a 6-man, right? But so you probably would have to take Sabbatha up to 60 to do well there, and then you might need 1 more reviver. Like, you almost need like 2 or 3 revivers. It's really wild. If you haven't done so already, click the link on the description. You'll get 2 free epic champions, Tayrel and Rector Drath, or scan the QR code. Log in for 7 days to get Alice the Wanderer, which is amazing. She's absolutely amazing. And then, very important, the first 24 hours, use the promo code Monkey King, 1 word, and then you get some Wukong. And I believe if you're on iOS, you're not going to be able to do it in game like the way the Boilon showed right here. You actually have to go on to the Plarium website to do it. Anything you want to say before we go?
Thanks for having me onto the channel. Thanks for checking out my roster. Raid Shadow Legends has been an absolute blast, and I'm really happy with the progress that I made in my first month, and hope that continues.
All right. Bye for now.